This is Late Night Health. This is the radio show that cares about the most important part of your life, your health. During the next hour, we're going to take a look at a number of things. I'm going to pontificate in about a half hour on COVID-19. Maybe our guest, our next guest will join us in that pontification on how COVID-19 is being handled by local, federal, state governments, and really around the world. We'll end up today's show talking with Robert Clancy, as we always do, and today we'll be talking about transitions. We go to the Baltimore, Maryland area of our great country, and we welcome to our airwaves Dr. Hassan Tetteh. He is, amongst other things, a U.S. Navy captain. He's associate professor of surgery at the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences. He's a professor at Howard University College of Medicine. I actually recorded some interviews there probably 30 years ago at Howard University. He has written a book called The Art of Human Care. The Art of Human Care. You got to check this thing out. It's a beautiful book, a lot of art in the book, and of course, art is part of the title. Dr. Tetteh, welcome to Late Night Health, and I start by saying thank you for your service.
And I would say thank you for the warm introduction, and thank you for your service in helping people work through these challenging times through all the work that you do. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. If I had gone into the service, doctor, I would have been quarantined because I would have said to a superior officer, "You want me to do what?" Anyway, The Art of Human Care. One of the things that you've said in your materials regarding the book is that this is the culmination of your life. I think there's a lot more to come. Okay, I just want you to know that.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's from your lips to God's ear. That's great. I do hope there is more to come. I hope that The Art of Human Care is the first of many in a series under that umbrella, and I thank you for the kind words.
The book, I guess, got its genesis when you were in college and you had a near-death experience. You had you came down with an infection. It was misdiagnosed, right. And you went inside and helped yourself heal. Would that be accurate?
Absolutely accurate. Yeah, I would say, your first comment about the book being of sorts a culmination of my life work is in many ways very true and accurate. And fortunately, since I still hope I have some years ahead of me, I will continue to do more and build upon this work. But going back in title, and those of you that are listening on airwaves, if you see the cover of the book, it has a picture of two things which are very near and dear to my heart. No pun intended. I happen to be a heart surgeon as my medical specialty. But on the cover of the book, there's a scalpel and there is a paintbrush. And the paintbrush is signifying art, of course. And as it relates to me, as I relate in the book in the very beginning, I wanted to be an artist when I grew up. And I still guess to some extent I'm an aspiring artist even to this day. And I got accepted into a very prestigious art high school in New York City called Art and Design High School. And I also got accepted into an engineering and science school at the same time. And my dad wouldn't let me go to the art school because he thought that I wasn't going to make any kind of living as an artist. So he discouraged me from going there. In fact, he prohibited me from going to art school and said that I'd have to go to the science and engineering school. So I feel as if I had this inner artist in me, always living, under the shell here. And I try to marry art and weave it into everything that I do because I believe that art is a very powerful form of expression. It's part of the human condition, and certainly when it comes to healing, our expressive arts have been instrumental in providing peace, serenity, and truly healing for many. Fast forward, let me just kind of punctuate it by saying that the other thing on the title of the cover that you will see is mention of Ella Blue. Ella Blue happens to be my daughter, and she has, from her days as a young infant to even her early teenage years, has had an affinity to art, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to discourage her from being an artist. So she actually provided many of the illustrations within the book.
Which are absolutely beautiful. And by the way, the culmination of our lives are our children.
Yes, absolutely. Full circle.
Okay.
Yes.
Going down, and I've said this before on the show, in Beverly Hills, which is known for plastic surgery, not necessarily heart surgery, though I guess Cedars-Sinai is there. You see medical arts buildings. You don't see medical science buildings. Why is that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm sure if you polled many scientists, doctors, scientists, and researchers, and even artists, they probably will have a different answer to that question. But I would go to as far as to say that anyone that studies medicine and is even practicing in medicine, from that standpoint, will recognize that although much of our profession and the work that we do is based and grounded in science and research and basically the experience that's been garnered over years and if not centuries of practicing this craft, if you will, a lot of it still relies on and depends upon creativity, tailoring a particular therapy for a patient and realizing and having the flexibility, and not all things work for some individuals. We have a good amount of foundational knowledge that suggests that much of what we do in healthcare really is an art because you have to tailor what you do to the individual, and it requires a bit of creativity and that expression of the connection to another human being. And I think that those are all very characteristic traits of art in terms of speaking to you in a certain way and sort of relating to you in a certain way. And I try and do that with my patients, certainly.
Doctor, I have to tell you, one, thankfully I don't need a heart surgeon, but if I do, you're it. That's one.
Oh,
and
awesome.
two,
Well, thank you.
As long as you take insurance. And then the second thought here is that today doctors of all kinds get 7 minutes with a patient. Then there are doctors like you who take the time that's necessary. And if you're given a patient who needs an angioplasty or bypass surgery or more complicated surgeries, do you spend the time with your patients? I just know you're going to answer yes.
Yes, the answer is yes, I do. But more importantly than spending the time with the patient, I think there's an attribute that, believe it or not, is probably the most important attribute to being a physician, in my opinion, among the most important attributes. Certainly there's caring and knowledge and empathy and all of those things. But I think when you engage with the patient and you have that encounter, that one-on-one time with the patient, the best thing that you can do, and this has been proven time and time again to me in every aspect of my practice over these decades now, is the one thing that you can do for a patient is
what we're going to do, Doctor, hold on.
Listen to them.
Doctor, I'm sorry. We're going to take a time out, and when we come back, this will be our cliffhanger, and you'll give us the answer. How's that?
All
Does
right,
that work?
That sounds great.
Okay. We're going to take some time out, and we'll be back in just a couple of moments. This is Late Night Health. Visit us at latenighthealth.com, and you can visit us at facebook.com/Late Night Health Radio. Daryl and I will be back along with Dr. Tetteh, as we continue here on Late Night Health.
If you're listening to Late Night Health right now, you're part of the growing target of baby boomers we're serving. Hi, I'm Daryl Wayne, producer of Late Night Health, inviting you to join the Late Night Health family. If you have any business targeting the growing boomer market, Late Night Health is the ideal advertising vehicle for you. From vitamins to insurance, alternative health to Western-style medicine, Late Night Health caters to the growing population of those over 40 years old. This vibrant demographic has expendable income to fight aging, purchase travel, take care of aging parents, or just have fun. Find out about the advertising opportunities with Late Night Health. Call us at 805-391-0308. That's 805-391-0308, or email us at info@latenighthealth.com. That's info@latenighthealth.com. Join Late Night Health as we empower people to take charge of their own health care. Call now at 805-391-0308. That's 805-391-0308.
Late Night Health is proud of our partnership with the EBC, the Evolutionary Business Council. Check them out at ebcouncil.com.
You're listening to Late Night Health with Mark Alyn. The show continues in a moment.
Recently, I met Jacqueline from Bright here in Los Angeles. She gave me a hearing exam and then showed me how to hear again with the new Signia Pure Series hearing aids, and she can give you your life back too. I hear birds chirping, birds cooing, and even my wife. They easily connect to my smartphone. The Signia hearing aids are amazing, and with the charge and go, I don't have to fiddle with batteries and hear all day long. Not hearing is frustrating for you and your family. I know you don't have a problem, but trust me, call Bright Here now for a free hearing exam, a $125 value, yours free, just for making an appointment now. There are offices throughout the Los Angeles area. Call Bright Here now at 323-424-7100. That's 323-424-7100 for a free hearing exam. There's no obligation. Call now, 323-424-7100, or visit them on the web at brighthere.com.
Welcome to Guide to the Soul. This is Robert Clancy. Opening your heart is the only way to allow all the light in. Unconditional love does exist, but it takes trust, something not a lot of people are willing to give. But how can you expect it if you don't provide it too? All hearts are refillable, rechargeable, and renewable. So why worry about being burned? By giving, you have everything to gain. Think of how beautiful your life would be if someone loved you without barriers, gave all of their heart to you without conditions, and wrapped their soul around you like it was your last day on earth. Today, you can be that person for someone else.
For more inspiration from Robert Clancy, visit guidetothesoul.com or go to the Moments with Robert page on latenighthealth.com. Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn. We're taking a look at the art of human care. Not only the book by Dr. Hassan Tetteh, but the art of human care in general. So we had a cliffhanger. You were answering our question, and you were about to give us the answer to spending time with a patient is one thing, but there was one more element that you thought was even more important.
Right, exactly. And I think that element can be summarized in two words. I did say one word, but the first word is the most important one, and that is giving the patient time to tell their story. And by doing that, you have to do something that's very critical. You have to listen to the patient. You know, you went on to say that the average doctor spends about 7 to 8 minutes with their patient. You know, that's an enormous amount of time if you really think about it. If you ever just sit still for just 7 to 8 minutes, that's a lot of time. And we have studies that show that when a patient begins to engage with the healthcare provider, whether that be the nurse, even someone just doing a triage in the emergency room, and certainly when they're in front of the doctor, when they start to answer the question, to the classic question of what brings you in today or why are you here, do you know how long the patient will start speaking before they're interrupted? Just take a guess.
5 minutes.
No, even
Longer.
less than that, dramatically less than that.
Oh.
Between 16 to 21 seconds, they'll be interrupted with another question or a qualifier. Now, if you think about that, just imagine you've taken all of your time, you've waited in the waiting room, you maybe in some cases had to garner all the courage to come see your doctor because you're scared about some issue or something, and you get your opportunity to tell your story, and within the first minute of talking or even less, you're going to be interrupted. And sometimes with a question, it'll take you off track. And then when those 7 or 8 minutes have expired, as you mentioned, you haven't even had a chance to tell your story. So one of the things that I talk about in the book is how important it is to listen to the patient. And it's not something that I necessarily came up on my own. When I was in medical school, one of our great professors used to say something, and it has proven to be universally true in every instance in my practice in medicine and surgery over all these years. And he said that if you listen to the patient, if you truly listen to the patient, they will tell you the diagnosis and certainly let you know why they're really there. And, it has always borne out to be true. And you give the time and the space for patients to tell their story and the reason for why they're there, it doesn't really take very long. And from that, very grounded sort of initial, trust that you build by listening to the patient, you can really now deliver the right care to the patient in a way that, will really make it a true impact and difference in their lives. Now, the other thing that I sort of talk about and share in the book is a little mnemonic that I think is very easy for people to remember. But I try and do this instinctually. I listen to the patient, but I also try and learn about the patient while they're there so that I can best help them. And the learn for me is broken down into a sort of a mnemonic. So the first L, the L in learn, is listen to them. I empathize, that's the E. I affinitize is the A, is sort of a word that I've kind of made up with the root word of affinity, and that means trying to find out what it is that's important to that patient, so that whatever the therapy is or the course of treatment or recommendation that I'm making is something that the patient is going to, it's going to resonate with the patient, something the patient's going to really, take to if they're interested in something. The R is repeat. Because it's always worthwhile repeating what it is that you're recommending, and especially when you're giving instructions. And it may actually be necessary to repeat it on another occasion because we are creatures of habit and we need repetition for things to become, sort of ingrained. And then the N is sort of a play on words, but it's understanding what the patient's now is. Patients come to seek health care at different times in their lives. Sometimes they're coming for chronic conditions. Sometimes they're coming for brand new conditions. Sometimes they're coming for things that have nothing to do with a physical ailment per se, but maybe something emotional. And so trying to find out, and this is all very possible to do when you listen to the patient, trying to find out why they're there in front of you at your office, in your ER, in your hospital ward, at that particular time now. What is it that brought them to you now? Because that's what's most urgent to the patient, and that's what they need to have you help them address and navigate. So trying to find those things out. So I listen, and of course I learn about the patient, and I think that those two things, doing those two things and doing them well, engenders a really great opportunity to help the patient in a tremendous way.
One of our friends, Dr. Habib Siddiqui, has a thought, and that is that the patient needs to be touched. because that's part of the healing. And I don't think that, cutting somebody open counts for that, but holding their hand, putting your hand on a shoulder when you have to give bad news, is that part of the art of human care? Touch?
That is absolutely the part of human care. In fact, that E of empathy is really, you think about that word and what it means to empathize. There is a connection that is also tantamount to empathizing with someone, whether it is holding the hand or if the patient happens to be in the bed, in the hospital bed, just a gentle touch on the foot. Sometimes it can mean a lot of comfort and delivers this sense that you really care and that you're there to understand, appreciate what's happening in their life, what challenges and crises they're facing, but that you're also there as a symbol and part of a team that's there to help them through something that's very scary, that's very anxiety-provoking. And in the book, there's actually a picture of a really impactful picture of hands holding another individual, and that hand is meant to convey the empathy and the touch, the healing touch, if you will, of this great profession of ours, which is healthcare.
And I was going to ask, and we don't have a lot of time for this answer, but it's the state of healthcare in the United States, with forgetting COVID. Are we okay? Do we need to get better?
That's a great question. I will say the answer to that question is, of course, we can get better. But I will also say that we are okay. The United States, America enjoys some of the best health care in the world. It is because of our creativity. It's because of our ingenuity, our science, the very brilliant, smart innovators that we have, not only in industry, but in and across the science. Yeah.
But at the same time, that healthcare is one of the most expensive in the world, and it doesn't need to be. I mean, the insurance companies are, if you deal with insurance companies, you have a full-time insurance coordinator on your staff who has to deal with, fighting the insurance companies for payment. And then they want to discount what they promised you. Terrible stuff. We're just about out of time. When you were writing this book, you're such a social person. But writing is kind of solitary. How did you, we only have less than a minute, 20 seconds for the answer. Was writing easy for you?
It was a labor of love. It wasn't easy, but it was very rewarding because writing is expressive, and I knew that in doing so, it would be an extension of the great work that I do on a daily basis, taking care of patients. I wanted the words to be able to help individuals by reading and by visualizing the art.
Dr. Tetteh came to us, by the way, from an OR where he worked on a heart transplant. Amazing. We're out of time, but Doctor, will you come back sometime very soon?
Absolutely. I would love to.
All right, good. Hold on a second. I'm Mark Alyn. This is Late Night Health along with Daryl Wayne. We will return as Late Night Health continues.
Sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Words are a critical aspect of success. How you get your point across is a crucial part of what makes anything sell. So do it right and hire a writer. Whether it's articles, blog posts, technical writings, website content, product descriptions, or ghostwriting anything from a novel to a nonfiction book about your navel, contact Servet Hassan. If you want it to sell, write it right. Email Servet at servet@servethassan.com.